I just had a topic come up on my board that we're all kind of looking for this truth. We're looking for truth. We're looking for an all knowing. And at the same time, this guy won't mention names, but said, but that's impossible. We'll never know everything. And no, it's not. It is freaking not impossible to have an all knowing. It happened to me. Now, as soon as I make the suggestion that I got an all knowing, that I know the truth, I know exactly what the game is, um, first of all, there's going to be a lot of criticism. So it's like, what's the point of having an all knowing? If there's going to be a lot of criticism about it, I would be criticized. It's like you don't want anybody to know that you have an all knowing, because the amount of negative energy that would come at you for even making the suggestion that you've got an all knowing, because it does come across arrogant. And um, look at the reasons why you would even reject it or be negative if somebody even suggested, I got an all knowing. I know the truth. What are the reasons that would cause somebody not to believe it? First of all, it makes you appear arrogant. It makes you appear like, oh, here's the next leader, here's the next Jesus, here's the next guy we're supposed to follow, and that ain't it. I don't know. um, how can I say it? I do know an all-knowing, but that's not up to me to give you your all-knowing. um, how can I say it? There is no leader. Everything that would irritate you is not what an all-knowing is. It's like everybody knows. And what would an all-knowing give you? It would mean you know the answers to your problems. It would work for you. It would solve every problem that you have because you have an all-knowing. So it's not like I'm your leader. It's like I can give you the path as to how you get your all knowing. I can show you how the process works, what it feels like to have an all knowing. Um, but I'm not your guide. I'm not somebody to follow. Um, I'm just suggesting that here's what happened to me, and this is what's about to happen to you. And look at everything that you believe to be true, because everything you believe to be true happens to be false. If you're looking for a truth and the truth that you know right now ain't working for you, then something about your truth right now isn't so truthful. An all knowing means you see the problems that you're dealing with, but you also see the solutions at the exact same time. You kind of understand what time is. It's really, really wild. Let me just more explain what happened to me. When I did get this all knowing, information flooded me instantly. It was how we receive information is very linear. We get how I'm talking to you is very linear. One word comes after another word that comes after another word. And you build one concept on top of another concept on top of another concept. With an all knowing, everything comes at you all at once. It's a non-linear experience. It's an all knowing. You know everything all at once. And there's so much information. I mean, it's you can really understand what genius and insanity is, because while you have an all-knowing, it's like, okay, how do you communicate with the rest of the world? Because the rest of the world is linear thinking, and to explain it, would take like a billion lifetimes to explain it. You would have to take every single friggin' university course and put all of the information from, and know where the contradictions are. It's like a Vulcan mind meld. That's about, how you can exchange information um, from an all-knowing. This is the biggest problem, is how do you explain an all-knowing? But wait till I can tell you the process of what's going to happen, because I see everybody else is going to go through the same thing. And it is a process of you losing your mind, but actually what's going to happen is you're going to find your mind. But um, you can take two different directions. When you lose your mind, you can go into a madness. You can get extremely frustrated, and it can drive you crazy. That's what, genius and insanity is try and the aspect of being insane or going madness is your inability to communicate with the rest of the world now, because again, everybody is linear thinking, linear communicating. So when you're trying to make a point, one text, one word will make anybody misunderstand what you're trying to say. It's so much easier if I just did a Vulcan mind meld, and it's like, then you'll get the whole picture right away. Because if I say one sentence, your belief systems will make an assumption based on one sentence that I've said, and it's like, no, that's not what I mean. Let me continue. But nobody allows you to continue, because as soon as you say something that's really irritating, really offensive, you're not open to be able to receive more information. You're not open to try and get, okay, where is another understanding from that one sentence? So you can go down a stage of complete madness, and you'll know that you're going down a path of madness if you are in fear, you're frustrated, you're angry. Any negative emotion will guide you down the path of complete insanity and madness. But when you end up getting this all-knowing, um, then it is a matter of, just being calm. Try and calm. That's what I had to do, is calm myself down. It is like being in a completely different dimension. It's like we're in the fourth dimension, and this is like going into the fifth dimension. Well, we're actually in the fifth dimension. Um, it's like going, seeing a glimpse of the sixth dimension. It's like you're in a fishbowl, and like right now, we are in this fishbowl, but don't know it. But to know you're a fish in that fishbowl means you have to be outside of that fishbowl looking inside you. So right now, a lot of us are in this outside of the fishbowl looking in at ourselves, but we won't quite understand what it is until you're outside of even that bigger bubble and just get a glimpse of what that bigger bubble is. So kind of look at it as we're in the fourth dimension. Well, we're in the fifth dimension experiencing the fourth dimension, and you got to kind of have an experience of the sixth dimension to see what the fifth dimension is. And I know that ain't going to make any sense to anybody. And that's the frustration, that's the madness, is trying to find a way that communicates this information. But if you're, because you're in one dimension and everybody else is in another dimension, it's a matter of, okay, how do you get to be in the same world as everybody else? Like, you can have this all knowing, but you're in a world of your own. You no longer are in the same world that everybody else is, and it's like, what fun is that? So it's almost like, okay, if you have this all knowing, it's kind of important that everybody else has this all knowing. Be in the same world as me. But in this same world as me, you would have the same information as me. It would work for you just the same as it would work for me. In this world of all knowing, um, it has provided me with a knowing of how to heal, because I've been healing a lot of the medical and emotional problems that I was forced to deal with, which is how everybody's going to get their own knowing. Is as soon as you're pushed off that cliff, um, you can get an all-knowing. The key is that you have to be wanting to get this all-knowing. If you want to be in refusal of it, if you want to say it's impossible, if you have the rules of your life designed for you not to get an all-knowing, you'll never get it. That is one key that sort of got me there. Is I was constantly looking and believing and receiving an all-knowing. And once you're in receiving, you have to be able to believe it's possible, because everything that's preventing you from having an all-knowing is your beliefs. You have some rules going on in your life right now that are preventing you from having it. You're tied to stuff. You're tied to a concept, and those ties will prevent you from receiving it. But I've been, wanting to know everything since I was a kid. Those irritating kids that know it all. um, there's more to it than that. But if you're a kid that was always told you're a know-it-all, that's because you've always been trying to know it all, and you're always in receiving of information to know it all. It's not that you do know it all, you just may know more than what other people know, um, which gives you the opportunity to still be wrong, because once you do truly get an all knowing, you know where everybody else is at. You know the development stages everybody's at. I'll continue.